Hello and welcome. My name is Jan, and today I'm going to teach you how I created a high converting audience of buyers for Google YouTube ads. And it's really three simple steps here. I'm going to give you the detail of the first two here, which is step one, find the highest intent audience. Step two, compile that data and send it over to Google. And in step three, you build the campaigns, monitor, do your normal metrics, compilations, and data gathering. But ultimately, that campaign is going to use this data in step one and step two. And it works extremely well. And I'll show you how it's done, but more importantly, why it works so well. So let's use the example of tomato gardening. We're going to go a little generic here, but the same principles apply across the board. So simply starting with number one in the list here, find the highest intent audience. So what we need to do is we need to go to the highest intent place we know, which is Google. And out of the millions and millions of data points that are being collected out there, again, that's the scientifically unknown number. But we know that everything you do on the Google platform, including browsers, emails, apps, etc., you're being tracked, right? So all that data is being compiled in the back end across data centers and provided back to Google so that they can optimize their experience further. So ultimately, it might be seen as a negative thing by some of the paranoid folks out there, but it's ultimately a positive thing for overall business, I would say. Anyway, let me share with you how I did this. And I do this for our clients. Same principle. So hopefully you'll learn something great here today and apply it yourself. So first thing you want to do is whichever niche you're in, you want to pull out 3 to 5 phrases / keywords that speak to that particular niche, right? So if it's finance, real estate, we're going to use gardening here as an example, or health and wellness, B2B, B2C, doesn't matter. You want to get some strategic keywords and phrases in that define that business and what most people are searching for. And it can be a fairly high volume. Now, I wouldn't recommend you type in something like, diet or weight loss only. You want to use what's called the long tail phrases here. So, 5 to 6 keywords probably is fine depending on the niche. In this example, as you see here, how to grow tomato plants. So we have about 18,000 searches a month on Google for that, very popular. So we're now assuming that we're going to have this be a particular ad that's going to be presented to this audience. Well, what you can do is go to Google, as I mentioned, type in your phrase, and scroll down and take a look at some of the top rankings here. So in this case, we see Better Homes and Gardens, we see The Spruce, Almanacs, Southern Living, Gardener's World. Some of this is going to show differently for you depending on where you're at in the world based on IP origin, geo, etc. But you get the drift, right? So if we want to build a high intent audience, we want to build an audience that is psychologically prepared and ready to research, buy, and engage with this particular keyword phrase, which represents an audience, right? I mean, if somebody types in how to grow tomato plants, it's an information-based query out the gate, but it's also a buyer-centric phrasing here, as you'll see, because people who are in early stages on how to grow tomato plants will eventually need products and maybe services around this, right? So from seeds to particular hardware, all of that good stuff. But anyway, that gets a little bigger in the discussion here today. That's about messaging and positioning of, copy to your audience. But really today, I want to share with you how to create that killer audience, okay? So let's get into it here. So let's review. We find the highest intent audience. We compile the data, send to Google, and then build a campaign. So let's do it. First, go into Google, type in the phrase or phrases that's relevant to your business. I typically start with 1 or 2 because there's massive amounts of data here. And we want to pull back the top 50 URLs that come back from a particular search like this. So you can scroll up and down, take a look, and you can start compiling this data into a spreadsheet. Now, you can basically copy the link address or use some other tools out there that can scrape this stuff. Essentially, you want to get it into a list very, very quickly without spending too much time here. We use some other tools here for this particular purpose, and I'll post the links below in the description. But essentially here you can see we have Almanac, the Spruce, Gardener's World. We basically pull back about 50 here of specific URLs. So these are URLs that are found on the first page in the old sort of parlance of Google. Now it's just parallax scrolling. You scroll and scroll and scroll on Google, but the top 10 is sort of considered the prime real estate on Google. But we want to collect about 50 here. So 50 URLs specifically, not the domain, but the actual URL. So in this case, gardening, vegetables, how to plant and grow tomatoes. Very specific here. We want to take all of these URLs. So I'm going to just paste them. And we're going to go into Google. And we're going to do step 2 here. We're going to compile that data and send to Google, right? So we found the highest intent. We're going to compile it. We're going to go to Google right now. And once you get into the Google Ads system, we're going to go to the Ads Audience Manager, which you find up here under Tools and Settings, and you end up in here. So we're going to how to grow tomatoes. We'll just put that right in here. We are going to create a custom segment, which is a custom audience parlance in Facebook terms. And we're going to look at people who browse websites similar to. Now, it doesn't mean that the ad is going to be shown right in front of these people in specific. We're building a YouTube ad in this case, if I didn't mention that. But the idea is we want a high intent audience. And as you can see, it's massive here. We get some initial data from Google, not always available here. But anyway, this is less important over here. So the key is you want to create a top 50 URL listing, as we just did, for a particular keyword or phrase. So it's segmented. So you don't want to throw all kinds of terms in here and bucket these guys. You want to actually segment, and the reason why it's twofold. One is it creates a better organization for you internally, but also from a messaging standpoint, you will now create ads and video ads in this case that speak to how to grow tomatoes. And there can be a longer video that is more educational in nature, which is recommended, obviously, in this case. But you can have shorter videos, for example, for retargeting to where you bring the audience back to your particular message and or your landing page slash products like e-commerce or a landing page in general. Anyway, I'm going a little bit deep there, but you get my drift, right? So we searched the key term, we got the URLs, the top 50 in this case. We create a new segment, and actually I'll create kind of a custom audience here, custom segment. How to grow tomatoes. I typically use the phrase internally, and sometimes if it's international or local, I might specify that there. Not really important, but some of the naming conventions can help you find these out as you start to build out many of these. Ultimately, we want people with these interests or purchase intentions, right? We want these particular URLs that people are finding in the top rankings, and then we save it off. And how to grow tomatoes now is going to be reviewed, and it's going to be built and get ready for a hyper-targeted audience. Because now in step 3, you can build a campaign, do your normal, ads management routines here, monitor and adjust, etc. But this is a simple way to create a high converting audience of buyers or simply high intent people, whether that's an educational seminar you're driving to, an event, course creators can obviously use this, and straight up selling products, right? This is one way that I've found personally, and for all our clients that we use at the agency, to create a very specific high converting audience. And as you can see, a massive list here of members into this audience, 10 billion plus. We have to talk about messaging and how we build the campaigns at another video, but I just wanted to get this out here because I think this will really, really help you to think about how to build a high converting audience of buyers and engaged audience members inside Google. Hope you enjoy. And if you have not yet, make sure you click subscribe to this channel. There's more videos coming. And if you want to know more about our agency, just visit chaosmap.com. Thank you very much. This is Jan out.